Right. Well, I'm on the Churchill Road, midway between Perth and Smiths Falls, Ontario, Canada. And I'm going to tell you a kind of a funny driving story. This isn't something that happened to me. This happened to a friend of mine. This guy would be of my generation, though, because he was born exactly a year after I was. I was born July 1st, 68, and he was born July 1st, 69. So the guy is exactly a year younger than me, anyway. But this happened back in the 1980s. He was in Carleton Place with a buddy of his, and he was driving his dad's work truck. And his dad was a mechanic, and his dad had a, like an early to mid-70s Ford F-100 work truck. And anybody who remembers the old Ford trucks will remember that they had a flat dashboard right from one side to the other. It was like a shelf, the top of the dashboard was. And that's how his dad used it too. So his dad had all sorts of wrenches and different things up, on the dashboard, all kinds of tools for working on trucks. His dad was a truck mechanic. His dad had all these wrenches and things up there. And anyway, his dad, he had all these wrenches and everything up there. And they were in Carleton Place. It was in the wintertime. The two of them were totally wasted. My friend who was driving his dad's truck and his friend, both of them were completely pissed. They'd gotten into some alcohol, and the two of them were completely wasted. And they went down into this area. Now, there's an area where if you turn off of Bridge Street, which is the main street in Carleton Place, you can go down into this area, and it used to be an industrial area. I remember when it was an industrial area. That's also where you would catch the Voyageur bus, which was like our equivalent of Greyhound at the time up here. And, to go to other places if you didn't drive or whatever, Anyway, but when you got onto this street, it was straight down. It went straight downhill. And at the bottom of the hill, there was an old warehouse or factory or something. And there was a train bridge down there. There was a set of train tracks and a train bridge. Anyway, there was a set of train tracks and a train bridge. And you'd go down there, and in the winter time, that would turn into glare ice. It'd be so icy. Well, the two of them went down there, and they were going at an awful speed when they turned onto that street. And of course, my friend, he lost control of the truck, and the truck went straight down the hill, and when it hit the bottom of the hill, it went around in a circle, and then it went straight into the abutment of the railroad bridge. So the truck basically drove it right into the end of the railroad bridge. Well, all the wrenches and everything that were on the dashboard, they all came down onto their laps. He said they were sitting there and they had all these wrenches on their laps and everything, all these tools that belonged to his dad. They all just came off the dashboard onto their laps. And they're busy pulling all this stuff off themselves. And a cop happens to come along. One of the Carleton Place town police officers. And he rolls down the window. And he yells at them. He says, "What in the hell happened here?" Just like that. And my friend yelled back at him out his window. He yelled, "Road conditions." And the cop says, "Yeah, road conditions my ass." And the cop opened the door and stepped out of the patrol car. And as soon as his feet hit the ground, they went out from under him. And he landed on his arse anyway beside his patrol car. Well, it took him a little while to get upright again. But once he got back on his feet, he just turned and looked at them, and he said, "Road conditions, right." And he got back in his car and he took off. But yeah, This is the kind of stuff that used to happen anyway, you know. When I was young, that's the sort of stuff that would happen, you know. I think we all had stories similar to that. I didn't drink myself, so I don't have a drinking story like that, but still, we all had stories that were kind of similar to that anyway, things that happened to us, you know. Especially things that happened to us when we were driving. You know, driving was quite an adventure in those days. Anyway, this kind of a funny story that this friend of mine told me anyway. Something that happened to him back in like the mid-1980s. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll see you later. I'm going to go over to the farm, and I'm going to see if I might get some eggs today. Every time I go there now, I see a sign that says sold out. I'm hoping that they'll have eggs. I don't know what's going on with the chickens. Maybe they're on strike or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky and get some eggs today. We'll talk to you later.